gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Moore, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To our witnesses, again, I want to echo what the other members have said, and thank you for your testimony today. I wish some of the members of the other side were still here, because I remember when our meeting started out, there were some unfortunate comments made by one of the senior members on the other side of the aisle, taking shots at the president and at Elon Musk, and I think that's very unfortunate. I think this should not be a political enterprise in the sense of this testimony today. This is so important. You know, digital assets are not a thing of the future. We're not talking about the Jetsons. We're talking about something that's actually a real thing that roughly 90 million people in this country either invest in or use or both. And the blockchain technology and digital assets hold so much potential to transform our financial system, offering greater efficiency, transparency, and accessibility. And some of the arguments that I would hear from the other side of the aisle was there was worry about fraud, so it couldn't be used. And I'm just before I got here, a small-town lawyer from rural North Carolina, but the best analogy I would know would be someone saying you shouldn't use a $20 bill because there might be a counterfeit one out there somewhere. The reality is, you know, in anything you have, there's going to be fraudsters and criminals who try to come in and abuse the system, and I appreciate what the industry has done to try to deal with it. But I do believe that's very important, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, that we as Congress move forward with a very strong, solid system in place to make sure there are guideposts in place, just like Fit 21 and what the industry has worked on. And I had a series of questions, but I think you all have covered most of that. But I did want to follow up on one thing, Mr. Yoakim, who I believe you're an NC State grad, in fact, so you're having a better season than my Tar Heels, so I'll give it to you this year on that one. But I did want to ask this. My understanding is that, and I think Representative Herodopoulos mentioned this just a moment ago, about last year, some of the issues you dealt with Mr. Gensler, and basically it sounds like your company being targeted. And it sounded like a lot of that happened after you brought testimony before the committee, and I'm just curious, how did these actions by them affect your digital asset, your company, but more importantly, the digital asset community and the investment in digital assets? I think it's unfortunate, but I think folks need to hear how that impacted you all.
Thank you for the question, Congressman. And as a Wolfpack fan, you have to believe. And you know, we believe and are confident that this Congress is going to get a bill done on market structure. Regarding our experience, again, we were sued once on one of the programs we offered. Again, there was no clear path to registration for staking. There still is not regulatory clarity. We've seen the UK move forward with legislation on staking. We've seen other jurisdictions do this. We know the United States can do it. And so that's one priority for us. Kraken did testify in Congress, and the next day, we got a phone call, said you're getting sued on another business. I made sure not to wear that same tie for that hearing, but it's important that we move past that. And I know we want to make sure actions of the past administration are held to account, but we are looking forward, and we think there's been a lot of bipartisan support that's necessary to get this bill done in this Congress.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and to all of the panelists, I really appreciate your expertise and your commitment to this, and look forward to your suggestions as we move forward on this legislation.